Right at this moment, Israel is repelling a missile attack from Iran. Tehran has launched at least 1,500 ballistic missiles at Israeli cities. The video shows how Israeli air defense is responding to them. One of the epicenters of the attack was the city of Tel Aviv. There are also reports of the first casualties who are being taken to the city's hospitals. Israel claims that it managed to intercept 50 Iranian missiles. According to some reports, the key IDF command post may also have been targeted in the attack. Earlier, Israel warned that if Tehran dared to launch an attack, Iranian oil refineries and gas infrastructure could become targets for subsequent Israeli strikes. So, this is the most powerful Israeli strike on Iran in the past several decades. Within a day, the head of the nuclear program, the top command of the Iranian armed forces, several nuclear facilities, and quite a lot of air defense systems were eliminated, which will allow Israel to continue striking Iran. After all, the strikes are still ongoing. The skies over the region are closed. Israel's daring operation, codenamed Rising Lion, will be discussed at the UN Security Council in 2 hours. The Iranian news agency reports 78 residents of the capital, Tehran, killed and more than 300 wounded. The United States is sending additional ships to the region. The European Union is calling for de-escalation. And now to the events in the Middle East. During the attack on Iran, Israel eliminated the head of the nuclear program, Ali Shamkhani. He was also a senior advisor to Ayatollah Khamenei. Today, explosions were heard again in Iran during the day. According to preliminary reports, the explosions occurred in the area of the airport in the city of Tabriz. And overnight, Israel struck Iran's nuclear facilities. This is the largest attack since the Iran-Iraq War. Israel carried out the special operation, codenamed Rising Lion, to prevent Tehran from developing nuclear weapons. As a result of the attack, there are already casualties among the top command of the local forces. Iran has promised harsh retaliation. The United States distanced itself from this attack, but Trump stated that he knew about it in advance. TSN correspondent Oksana Tkachenko will share the details of the Israeli special operation and whether it could escalate into a real Middle Eastern war.
It all started at 3 in the morning. This is the largest attack on Iran in more than 30 or 40 years, since the war with Iraq. Right after the shelling, smoke and pillars of fire could be seen over Tehran. Widespread destruction of buildings is visible across the country.
Background conversation ongoing in the background.
Hundreds of military targets were hit by Israeli forces, but mainly nuclear ones. In particular, the uranium enrichment site in Names, which is 225 kilometers from the capital. Thousands of modern centrifuges operated there. Equipment used for enriching uranium gas, which are located dozens of meters underground for protection. At the moment, it's unclear what condition they are in, but the strike itself has already been confirmed by the IAEA, although no spike in radiation has been detected. At the same time, the attack resulted in casualties among top officials of the Iranian military. For example, the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is a powerful elite military unit, Hossein Salami and Mohammad Bagheri, the chief of the General Staff of Iran's armed forces. Among the victims are also 6 nuclear scientists. At least 50 people were injured. Tehran state television reported that women and children are among the injured. The special operation, codenamed Rising Lion, was prepared in advance, and Western media had warned about it last week. The main goal of the attack was to deliver a preemptive strike to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons. The IDF shared that they deployed about 200 fighter jets for this operation. On the eve of the special operation, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu went to pray and left a note at the Western Wall in Jerusalem. On the piece of paper was a Bible verse: "He rises like a lioness and lifts himself up like a lion." Later, Netanyahu recorded an address in which he explained Tel Aviv's actions as defending Israel's existence.
In recent years, Iran has produced enough highly enriched uranium for 9 atomic bombs. 9. In recent months, Iran has taken steps it has never taken before. Steps to turn that enriched uranium into weapons. If Iran is not stopped, it could produce nuclear weapons in a very short time. This is a clear and present danger to the very survival of Israel.
The Iranian leadership is raging with fury. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei makes a statement which is broadcast by the state television anchor, promising harsh revenge for what happened that night. Threats are also directed at the United States, which Tehran believes assisted Tel Aviv.
Great people of Iran, the Zionist regime this morning raised its sturdy and bloody hand to commit a crime in our beloved homeland and revealed its evil nature by striking residential areas more than any other, more than ever before. This regime should expect severe punishment. The mighty hand of the armed forces of the Islamic Republic, by the will of God, will not leave this unanswered.
And indeed, the response was not long in coming. Tehran has already launched hundreds of drones at Israel. A missile strike is also expected, and Yemen may join in as well. Airspace has been closed over Iran, Israel, and just in case, Iraq. A state of emergency has been declared throughout Israel. Sirens are sounding in the cities, and people have rushed to stock up on water and food. They have been ordered to stay in shelters. Emergency services are also preparing underground hospitals for future casualties. Meanwhile, the United States is distancing itself in every possible way from the attack on Iran. Secretary of State Marco Rubio stated that they did not provide any support in preparing for the special operation, although they were aware of it in advance. On the eve of the strikes, the U.S. evacuated non-essential personnel and their families from the embassy in Baghdad. In addition, another round of negotiations between the United States and Iran regarding the nuclear program was planned for this weekend. American President Donald Trump hoped that he would be able to achieve another peace agreement.
I would like to avoid conflict. Iran will have to negotiate a bit tougher. That is, they will have to give us some things that they are not ready to give us right now. I'm the last person who kept us from going to war. I want to make a deal with Iran. We're pretty close to a pretty good deal. It has to be better than just pretty good, but it has to happen.
Against the backdrop of the Israeli operation against Iran, oil prices have already jumped by 13%. Will Rising Lion lead to a full-scale war between Tehran and Tel Aviv? It's hard to say for now. But a number of experts agree that Iran's response to today's military humiliation needs to be powerful. On social media, footage is spreading of the flag of revenge being raised over the Jamkaren Mosque. Oksana Tichenko, TSN 1+1, Marathon, United News.
The first details have emerged about how Israel's Mossad prepared the operation that significantly thinned out Iran's air defense and eliminated key security officials and nuclear scientists. And in some ways, it strongly resembles our own Pavutina web operation. So how exactly was the most powerful strike against Iran in the 21st century carried out? How are they reacting to this in Tehran and other world capitals? TSN's international correspondent Yana Slesarchuk will tell us more.
The people you see in the video are Mossad operatives. They are operating on enemy territory because months before the start of Operation Rising Lion, they set up a secret drone base near Tehran, the Iranian capital. They also smuggled trucks loaded with weapon systems into Iran, which immediately struck at the Iranian air defense systems, preventing them from clipping the wings of Israel's aviation plans. Of course, not all the details have been disclosed yet, but officials are already cautiously sharing information with the Israeli press. The operation was jointly prepared by the IDF, Mossad, and representatives of the Israeli defense industry. Agents who were sent deep into Iran in advance helped set up the base for launching drones. The operation was not limited to just one day. Strikes on Iran are still ongoing. Israel states that it plans to carry out the operation for 2 weeks. Around the holy sites in Jerusalem, both the Muslim Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Jewish Western Wall, there is silence. The perimeter has been closed off, and all mass events have been cancelled to avoid giving the enemy convenient opportunities for a terrorist attack.
Today, before Shabbat, there are no prayers at all. All events have been cancelled, and the airport is still not operating. All hospitals have been switched to emergency mode. And you can see that, even though there are cars, there are very few people around.
Meanwhile, in downtown Tehran, there are hundreds of angry Iranians.
We are ready for retaliation. We were waiting for Israel to make a mistake so that the whole world could see Iran's strength.
According to preliminary information, tonight a second attempt at an Iranian response will reach Israel, another wave of Iranian attack drones. However, they are also expecting ballistic missiles there. That's why citizens were asked in advance to stock up on water and food for several days, and additional security measures were put in place. The press is still analyzing the details of how such an unpredictable operation was carried out. Even though an Israeli strike on Iran had been expected for many weeks.
No one believed it would happen this week, since tomorrow is the President of the United States' birthday, and it was thought that Israel wouldn't dare to attack before Trump's birthday. Also, on Monday, Prime Minister Netanyahu's son is supposed to have his wedding.
Donald Trump himself keeps posting on social media, praising the Israeli operation and almost taking credit for it. He says he gave Iran an ultimatum exactly 60 days ago, and now it's the 61st day, and he suggests immediately agreeing to a new nuclear deal. By the way, it was Donald Trump himself who tore up the previous Iranian nuclear deal during his last term. In response, Tehran is now announcing its withdrawal from nuclear negotiations altogether and is demanding an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council because, by all indications, Israel was the first to attack it as a state. European Union politicians, commenting on the escalation between Israel and Iran, have called for de-escalation and a diplomatic resolution.
The situation is developing very quickly. This was a unilateral move by Israel. So right now, it's extremely important for many allies, especially the United States, to work on de-escalation.
France has convened a National Security Council meeting to discuss the possible consequences of the Israeli operation. One of them is the potential deepening of divisions within NATO, since Turkey has strongly condemned Israel's strikes on Iranian targets and called them barbaric aggression. Condemned by Israel and Russia. The aggressor state, which for the fourth year in a row has been destroying Ukrainian cities with missiles and drones, called, and I quote, unprovoked military strikes on a sovereign UN member state, its citizens, peaceful sleeping cities, and nuclear energy infrastructure facilities categorically unacceptable. Yana Slesarchuk, TSN 1+1, Marathon, United News.
He supplied Putin with shahids and lied about the downing of the Ukrainian plane. Israel eliminated General Amir Ali Hajizadeh, the commander of Iran's aerospace forces. Sanctions were even imposed against the official for transferring Shahid drones and manufacturing technology to Russia. Meanwhile, Ukraine's Ministry of Foreign Affairs is urging our citizens to refrain from traveling to Israel, Iran, Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon, and Syria. And Israel itself is closing its diplomatic missions around the world. Consular services will not be provided. During the attack on Iran, Israel eliminated several members of the top command of the local forces. Iran promised harsh retaliation, including launching hundreds of drones, which were shot down. At the moment, mutual attacks are ongoing. Just last night, Israel struck Iran's nuclear facilities. This is the largest attack since the Iran-Iraq War. The special operation, codenamed Rising Lion, was carried out to prevent Tehran from developing nuclear weapons. The press is still analyzing the details of how such an unpredictable operation was carried out, even though an Israeli strike on Iran had been expected for many weeks.
In recent years, Iran has produced enough highly enriched uranium for 9 atomic bombs. 9. In recent months, Iran has taken steps it has never taken before. Steps to turn all of its enriched uranium into weapons. If Iran is not stopped, it could produce nuclear weapons in a very short time. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival.